Good afternoon, Sheffield, and welcome again to my channel. We are here again with Natasha, who's
Once again.
She's come to let us know about her journey to London Fashion Week in September and what's been her journey up to this point. So, hey, Natasha.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great, and it's great to be back and to see you. And thank you again for coming and wanting to share your story with me.
You're very welcome.
Lovely. So, what's happening with you at the moment?
Well, the big opportunity, which I'm still pinching myself at, is being spotted to do London Fashion Week. It's just an unbelievable opportunity. It wasn't expected. So I applied to do a pop-up at Shoreditch in London via this company that are called The Creatives. They're based in not based in Sheffield, they're based in London. And they were doing a pop-up for 3 days at the Box Park, which is quite a big deal, representing black businesses. So I applied for that, and a few days later got an email congratulating me that I'd got the 3 days. So we were really excited about that because I've never traded in London before, so that's going to be a really, really big opportunity. And then later that afternoon came through another email, and I just assumed it was just going to be information about the pop-up. And all of a sudden, it started with congratulations, and then went on to say that they'd scoured my social media and the website that I'd built, and had decided to invite me to London Fashion Week to showcase Armani Kush on their runway.
So they've got their own show going on.
So they run a load of fashion shows through London Fashion Week, representing loads of small businesses and small up-and-coming designers. And obviously it took a shine to what I do, and have invited me. So I'm actually going to go in September. And so Armani Kush is now in process of designing 6 different runway outfits that will walk down the runway. We're taking a new Sheffield model, so she's really excited. It's the first. It'll be her first runway, our first fashion show, and so I decided, because it was such an amazing opportunity. I'm the type of person really that if I am given an opportunity and I can bring people with me, then that's what I'll do. So I'm now in the process of looking for a black makeup artist. I'm hoping that the makeup artist might be somebody who's new and is just sort of getting started. It will give them an opportunity to be able to test out their craft, and also be seen in London. Obviously, as we know, London's a massive place, and when it comes to Fashion Week, it's a huge, huge deal.
Yeah.
And you never know who you're going to come across. We obviously know the one that we're doing, there will be a meet and greet afterwards, so we'll get to meet a lot of people. So there's an opportunity to meet other clothing labels, marketers, social media people, and there'll also be people that carry stock. There will be a representation of some music artists that are based in London as well, and so that's really, really exciting, because obviously you just don't know who's going to spot what you do. It's a massive challenge. I'm still pinching myself a little bit. I think I get up every day and sort of have to tell myself it's really happening. So I am very, very excited about it, but I'm also quite overwhelmed, because it is a huge opportunity, and I never really saw myself getting to that level, although every designer wants to hit that, but I never sort of went into it to get to that level, if that makes sense. It was just, for me, my art is my healing process, so for it to be recognised on the level that it has been quite a bit of a shock.
I can imagine. So it's going to be a great networking opportunity.
Yeah.
So anyone that's talented in, you said
in makeup artists, anybody who works with black skin understands the different tones that we carry in our skin. And somebody who's not scared to challenge themselves, try new things, but also somebody who's a lot of fun, you know, have got something about them, because we're all we all have to be a little bit mental, to be honest, to do what we're doing. So it's just somebody who's going to blend into the team, but and really just wants to challenge themselves and be able to move forward, and hopefully we might be able to open a couple more doors.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And it's just the makeup artist that you need. Is there anyone else that you
No,
need?
we've got, so as I said, we're taking a very new model. She's literally only just started modelling, so we launched her career maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
This is Penelope, by the way, who obviously wants to be in the video, so I'm trying to keep her quiet, so please bear with me, because she's going to
not for me.
She's going to kick off a lot. Hopefully she will settle down. But so we're taking the new model with us. We've also got a good friend of mine called Lachanda Gatson, and she is a celebrity hairstylist. She's based in LA. She's done a lot of work with Netflix. She was also the lady that headed the massive project that was the Disney princesses that were turned into black princesses, which was an amazing project that went all over the world. We had people like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith sharing those pictures. That was a massive deal.
How did you get connected with Lachanda?
So the way we did that is years ago I was running a label called Nubian Decor with a good friend of mine, Latoya, who she is a hair braider, and she approached me because she wanted some hair jewellery making.
I remember the spiral for the locks.
So we went ahead and started creating those, and it was supposed to really just be something for her to carry when she was going to her clients. But as we start to share them, we start to realise that a lot of girls really like the pieces I was making. And so we developed the label and started selling those pieces, and Lachanda spotted us on Instagram, so it tells you that social media works. She spotted those pieces, so we made a big collection and we sent that out to her to LA, and she started using those pieces on her clients.
Fantastic.
And that's how we came about. One of our clients is now Tashina Arnold.
Oh yeah.
She now wears our hair pieces. So does Tiffany Haddish. She wears our hair pieces. So that's an amazing achievement. But that came through Lachanda, so we will always be grateful to her. Maybe after a year of doing that, she then happened to be in London doing a shoot. So we got ourselves on the train and went to London, met up with her. And me and her in particular just clicked, and we sort of built a friendship. And so from that, we chat backwards and forwards. And then when the Disney project came up, she brought me on board for that.
Brilliant.
So I managed to get quite a few pieces on her project for that. And she's just been a good friend, and she's helped me with my creativity from the point of view. In the UK, we're very reserved when it comes to fashion, whereas in America, they're very sort of in your face. And so she will encourage me to embellish a little bit more. Apologies. She will encourage me to embellish a little bit more. And so that kind of got me to look at the pieces that I was making, and sort of thinking that I was sort of designing for people here. But I think
more reservation.
Yeah, but I think when I realised it was something that I wanted to push forward with, I realised that maybe I needed to start looking at the fashion in America. And Lachanda helped with that, and she put me, the funny thing was, she put me onto 2 or 3 shows that I needed to be watching.
Oh, fantastic.
And one of them was The Housewives of Atlanta. which I'm just absolutely in love with.
Just to see the style.
It's the style and the clothing that they wear. And the other one was the Love and Hip Hop. That's given me an awful lot of inspiration. And
even,
so from that,
the men on Love and Hip Hop,
the fashion, very clean. It's, you know, it's very, all the outfits are very well put together. It's thought about. And so from that point of view, that sort of encouraged me moving forward to just be a little bit more flamboyant with what I was creating. And I think since doing that, it's opened other doors. And it's just pushed me forward. But everything I do, I didn't go to school for. I didn't go to uni, I didn't go to school. It's not something that I've learned. So generally with me, I will have a picture of something that I want to create in my head. By the time I finished it, it's probably very different to what I first started with. And if I get stuck, you know, I use YouTube and social media like a lot of other people do. But I'm very much self-taught. It's not something I went to college for, although now my parents really wish they'd sent me to art college. But unfortunately, at the time I was looking at sort of A-levels and qualifications, coming from a Caribbean background, generally, you're not encouraged to go into art, into the arts as such. Because it's just something...
they don't see any future in things like art, acting, football.
Exactly. So from that point of view, it was just something I knew I kind of wanted to do, but I had to find a different way of doing it. And I think eventually I sort of just dug my heels in and was like, this is what I'm going to do. And that was that, really.
Okay. And you've got a GoFundMe?
Yes. So the issue is, because we've got basically a 10-week window, which is, it sounds a long time, but when it comes to creation and what we're doing, it's really not. And there is no funding in Sheffield, which is really disappointing. This was something that I was fighting with Sheffield City Council last year about, because I've just found that Sheffield in particular likes to ride off the fact of we are a multicultural city, and we have a lot of black art in Sheffield that Sheffield City Council love to use, but then when we need the funding and we need the help, that's where it stops. So having a very small window, I've gone out and done what everybody does and tries to find grant money to be able to fund this, and I'm just hitting brick walls. So the other option was GoFundMe and using my personal money. So that's what we're doing. So I've been sort of laughing with family and friends that I'll be eating beans on toast for the next 10 weeks.
Packet of noodles.
Yeah, anything really. So if anybody wants to donate any food.
What is the GoFundMe address?
So the GoFundMe, I'll give that link to you so that you can post it up with the video.
Okay.
But it's pretty simple. The link will be there, so you'll be able to just click on that link. It will take you straight to the GoFundMe. And you can put in as little as £1. £1 still makes a difference. I know, I'm very aware that we're all struggling in the UK especially. We've got bills that are skyrocketing. They're still going up. But at the end of the day, for me, this is a massive opportunity. So I will find any way whatsoever to find the money. And I've joked, you know, I'll wash, I'll clean, you know, I'll wash cars, I'll clean people's houses, I'll iron, I'll babysit. I'm not scared. I've never been scared of hard work.
Yeah.
And I'm very fully aware that this is going to be hard work, but it won't put me off. I keep pushing forward. So it's just really, people really, I desperately needed to support. As I said, £1, it does make a difference. We were joking that if we could find 300 people to put £10 each in, then we're in a really, really good position. We're really just asking people to support and help. It's going to a good cause, and the way I'm looking at the whole thing is, all those people that have donated, it's almost like they're coming with me to London Fashion Week. maybe I'm trying to think of a way at the moment of creating some kind of art. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some kind of a big canvas, and I think that everybody who donates, I'm going to create a feather on my cricket and put their name on, and then put it on that picture so that picture is there and everybody's name's on. So, and then we'll take that to London Fashion Week with us, and we'll put that into our social media. So it's like everybody's coming with us. It's almost like it's a journey for all of us, because there's been so many people in my life throughout the years that I've worked with or I've created with that are all sort of backing me. So I kind of feel like I'm going with a load of people. So that's really nice. So yeah, we would just really, really appreciate any support whatsoever. And obviously, if you can't donate and you do see the link, please just share it to your people and your friends and your family. And hopefully in those 10 weeks, we'll get to where we need to be, and we'll be walking down that runway.
Brilliant. Okay, people, so get looking for the GoFundMe sign. I will post it and share it. So please donate. That would be excellent of you. You did speak about healing. You're doing your creative work is a part of your healing journey. In our first video, you spoke about your journey through social services and the lack of care. Is it related to that?
A lot of it is related to that. It's difficult because most of my life, I'm 47 now, and most of my life I feel like I've been trapped in an abusive state. And the reason why I say that is because the abuse that I went through, number one, was absolutely horrendous. But number two, it was at the hands of social services. So the things that I went through were being seen by social services. It wasn't like they didn't know that I was being abused as a child. They did know, they had paperwork. People were making complaints and reports. Those complaints and reports were being written down. They were being filed, they were being written down, they were then being typed, they were then being signed off, they were then being filed, and nothing was ever being done. So I was left in a very dangerous situation as a child. And then as I've got older, it's never left me. It's something that's always been in my life. It's in my life and it has been every day of my life.
It's affecting.
It's affected everything that I've done. It's affected my personal relationships, and that includes friendships, but especially love relationships, because I think I don't quite understand what love is. And love comes in loads of different ways. But when you're a child and that bond especially has been broken from between a mother and a child, that's already trauma without putting a child into then a very dangerous situation. And unfortunately, I was in that dangerous situation until probably up to the age of about 7. And they say that the first 7 years of a child's life has a massive effect on the adulthood.
That's right, yeah.
So with me having those 7 years that were basically destroyed by one particular adult in particular, and then social services not doing their job properly, it has left me in a state where every day is a battle, and the only way I knew to be able to battle through those days was being creative, because I knew if I didn't find an outlet, I was going to go the other way.
Yeah.
So it was I was going to either end up in a box, or I was going to end up in a sky rise with 3 or 4 kids with different dads, probably a drug problem, not any prospects as such. And so I think it was a decision that only I really could make, was what was I going to do with all this pain and all this hurt that is a continuous thing every day. And the reason why I say that is because every day I probably have about 100 triggers every day. So I don't ever escape that abuse. it follows me. It affects my cooking. It affects my eating. It affects me walking. It affects me when it's warm and the the sun is blazing down. Just in so many different ways, it has a massive effect. So yeah, I think the creativity I turn to when I can't switch those thoughts off. So I go to my creativity and I put all that pain and all that hurt into something that I'm creating.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's almost like I'm blinded by it. So I will only see what I've created once it's finished and I walk away from it. And then I come back and realise what I've actually done is I've taken all that hurt and pain that I've carried on that day and made something beautiful with it.
Yeah.
And I only understood that probably in the last couple of weeks, which is really strange.
Really?
I've just been on this journey every day of I just need to create and I need this outlet. But I never really understood why I was doing it or what
was driving you to do it.
And it's only been probably the last couple of weeks, I think, because I started having some therapy, I've started to understand what I've been doing. So I think in a way I've actually been my own therapist and not realised it.
It's healing you.
Yeah.
They do call it alchemy. It's a way of turning chaos into something beautiful.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So when you said, can you describe then what has happened to you? Because you said you're cooking, going outside.
So there was a lot of abuse when I was, a toddler.
Your formative years, first 7 years, as you said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it started as little things, as it does, but it escalated pretty quickly. So there were things like I had eating issues. I didn't feel like I had eating issues, and everybody around me didn't think I had eating issues, but my abuser thought I had issues. And so her answer to those issues were, at dinner time, was to fill my mouth. I think I will have been probably from the age of about 2 till maybe 4. She would sit me down at the dinner table and she would fill my mouth full of food and then take her 2 fingers and just
push it in.
Just push the food down, and that was those were my meals. That was 3 times a day. And that was always done outside of the family. So the family would sit down and eat as a family. She would not do it in front of anybody. She did, and a lot of things she didn't do in front of anybody. She hid a lot of things. And so that was my meal, having food just shoveled down my throat. And bearing in mind, this is solid food because I'm not having chance to chew. This is just solid food that is just being shoveled into my mouth, and then 2 fingers. And it just got to the point, I think, in the end, because obviously that was very traumatic for me, and I'm sure it was probably traumatic for her. And so because of that, her answer to that was, just don't feed me instead.
Were you bringing the food up?
Yeah.
Were you being sick as well?
Yeah. So obviously that was causing more problems for her. So it wasn't fixing the problem. So therefore, if she didn't feed me, then she didn't have to deal with any of it.
Was she still expecting you to eat after you've been sick?
Oh yeah. It would continue till the plate was clean. It wouldn't. It would start from the minute that plate hit that table. So you can imagine, as a child, dinner time coming and what's going through my mind and knowing what was going to happen.
It's coming, yeah.
Yeah.
Torture.
And then going through the process of having somebody physically fill your mouth and having then physically 2 fingers being thrown into your mouth and hitting your throat. Obviously, you're going to gag.
Yeah. You're not being allowed to chew it.
No. this is solid food. So obviously, as I'm trying to swallow, I'm choking at the same time. I'm trying to pull it back up. She's trying to push it back in. It was a whole battle.
This is cruel.
And so from that point of view, it just got to the point of view, I think she stopped doing that more because it was causing more trauma to her, and it was causing more of an issue because then there's more cleaning up to do and whatever else. So it just got to the point, her answer to that was, oh, we'll just not feed the child.
Okay.
And so when my now parents took me on, I looked like a little Somalian because I'd got I was very skinny, but I got a very big swollen belly.
Yeah.
And that was because I'd not been fed.
So the people in the family, they could hear you obviously struggling.
Yeah.
But did anyone come?
No.
Okay. And how does that affect you now as far as
eating I'm classed as they don't really put a title on it, although they do accept that I have an eating disorder. And what happens with me is the minute I stress or my anxiety levels go up, my brain switches off from food. So I can go, I can go 2 or 3 days without food and not realise I've not eaten until somebody will say to me, have you eaten? And then suddenly I have to stop and think, oh,
are you drinking anything?
I'll drink, but even then I have issues with drinking from the point of view that back then that was another part of the abuse, because we got to a point where she would lock me in my bedroom quite a lot. And so because of that, I would have accidents because she wouldn't let me out of the bedroom.
Weeing yourself.
So I was having accidents, and she would come into the bedroom, realise that that's what I've done, and I would either get dragged out of the bedroom by the scruff of the neck. Many times I'd either get beaten, or it would be she would pick me up off the floor and crack my head against a brick wall. And probably the worst time she did that it was near Christmas time, and I was an angel at the Christmas nativity at school. And I remember it so vividly, which is the other thing. That's why I'm saying I have so many triggers. So I was locked in my bedroom. It was a school day. There were 3 other kids in the house as well. So everybody's up, mornings of school are mental. Everybody's running around getting ready. Everybody's rushing around. I was then let out of my bedroom, but because I'd been waiting so long to go to the bathroom, I'd had an accident, which was then going to make her late to get the rest of the kids to school and whatever else. So she lost her temper. She pulled me out of the bedroom. She cracked my head against the wall numerous times, to the extent she cracked my head open. She then rinsed my head off, dressed me, sent me to school.
Rinse your head from the blood?
Yeah. Took me to school, handed me over to the teacher. The teacher was walking me towards the stage, ready to practice for the nativity, and noticed blood dribbling out of my hair. And obviously immediately took me to the nurse. They had a look, noticed my head had been cracked open. Reports were made. I was cleaned up. And she was met at the school gates. And it was I think it was the head teacher at the time.
Not the police? No,
it was the head teacher. Because at that time, you didn't really go to the police when it came to abuse. Now you do. But back then, it was nurses and doctors and the school teachers and the school nurse. It was people like that you went to make complaints if you thought a child was being abused.
Okay.
My head teacher in particular was really, he was an amazing man. And he, on numerous occasions, put himself in the middle. And she was met at the school gates many times by teachers, nurses, and the head teacher, and were told, we're going to make a complaint to social services, you are abusing this child. There'd always be some kind of an argument, but unfortunately what would happen is, it was great these people were coming out and trying to protect me, but what would happen is, because they would come out and verbalise their worries and concerns to her, by the time I got home, that abuse got worse.
Yeah,
because obviously I've caused problems for her and made her look bad. So her answer to that was to abuse me again.
So without even saying, you don't need to say anything. You've got your head cracked open with blood pouring out of it, but it's still your fault.
Yeah.
That's wicked. Really wicked. Okay. Oh, goodness. How are you?
Sorry, darling. It's difficult. It's difficult.
So how are you? I mean, I know what that's like, to feel the anticipation of, oh shit, you know, she's going to be in a bad mood. How are you dealing with that each day? Have you got any friends? Is there anyone in the house that you're speaking with? Anyone who's comforting you?
No, I was isolated. No, I was. She had 2 biological sons of her own. She then adopted me. Not long after the adoption, the abuse started, but then they allowed her to take on another child. And once she took on that other child, that's when the abuse got 10 times worse. Because by that point, I think she then made the decision she didn't want me anymore, because she took on another daughter, so she didn't need me anymore. So I was sort of pushed out even further. The abuse got worse. And I was also a black child in a white family unit.
But were social services aware of the
Social
abuse?
services were very aware.
After or before giving her the chance to have another foster child?
Yeah, there was already reports. There were already reports going into social services to say that I was being abused. There were also reports going in to say that the adoption wasn't working. And yet they still allowed her to adopt another child and keep me.
The adoption with you wasn't working. Do you think it was her way of trying to get you taken out of her care?
I think so, yeah. I think rather than
her saying,
putting her hands up and saying, I'm not coping,
I'm struggling.
It was easier to blame me, because in some of the paperwork that I have seen, there are many comments that she makes that I was vindictive towards her, which, as an adult, when you're reading that, and you're reading that about between a 2 and a 4-year-old, a child doesn't know how to be vindictive. Right. A child doesn't know how to isolate, especially an adult.
They're just wanting love.
Yeah, but the paperwork reads that I purposely decided that I was gunning for her. I was going to cause her problems. So my behaviour was on purpose to upset her.
And no one's picked
up
on
nobody
this.
even read that and thought, that doesn't read right. You know, we're talking about an adult and a child, but yet nobody seemed to think,
get her out. This
isn't working. We need, that was social services' responsibility. It's their responsibility to protect a child. That is why social services exist in the first place. Mm-hmm. But with me, they did not protect me. They put me in a very dangerous situation and then left me in that situation, even though they had evidence and information to say that I was not in a safe place. They still continued to keep me there.
Evidence from people at school, doctors,
nurses, next door neighbours.
Okay, you said the sun when you go out. What's happened with? Is it your skin?
So, unfortunately for me, the abuse went to the extent that she just decided. It's something I fight with, because I can't quite decide if it was an attempt on my life or it was just she wanted to hurt me to the extent to guarantee that I would be removed from the family. So, okay, the beginning of the story. So, if you can picture winter, it was a really cold night. It was a school night, and I was 4. She used to teach part-time maths to children. I think it was GCSE level. So children would come to the house, and she would tutor. Yes, exactly. I see the face that you're pulling. But yeah, so it started off as a normal, if you can call it a normal evening. I'd been sent home from infant school with a book that you would sit and read for half an hour or whatever, and that was your homework. Mm-hmm. But because she'd got this class, this student coming round, she was stressed and she was running around the house. So we did the book, and then she decided that I needed a bath. So the plan was she took me into the bathroom and she put the plug in and she turned the hot tap on, and she told me at 4 years old, when the bath gets to a certain level, I was to turn the tap off and get in the bath.
That's your responsibility.
That's my responsibility. That was my job to do. So that's what I did. And as far as I was concerned, I, at that point, knew when to behave and when not to behave, because the abuse had already been happening. So as I was a bright kid.
You're living in fear, though.
Yeah, so obviously I'm not going to go and do anything extra that's going to upset her any more than she already is. Mm. And so that's what I did. But as a kid, you want bubble bath. I was 4, I'm a little girl. I want bubble bath.
Right.
And at the time, the bubble bath was, I can't remember what it was called, but do you remember the bubble bath that was like a bit of a body and it had like a hat on it? And they had different names to them. I love those bubbles. I still love bubbles in my bath. But yeah, so it was those, and I desperately wanted a bubble bath. So I stripped off and I ran into the hallway and she was hoovering. So that's another thing. As an adult, when you actually take a step back from that and you look at that picture and you think, okay, so this is a 4-year-old that's in a bathroom on her own with a tap running and a bath filling up. And the adult who's in care, who's the one that's supposed to be giving the care, is in the hallway hoovering. So I run into the hallway all excited, bath finished, I want bubble bath. And her face, I literally can see it now. And I knew my instinct knew I was in trouble. And she sort of grabbed me by the back of the neck and she pulled me into the bathroom and she sort of dropped me on the floor. She took the bubble bath, she poured the bubble bath, but she didn't mix it. And that's the other thing that's now actually, just in that split second I said that, has just made me go, why wouldn't you mix it? Because the taps weren't running by then, so they weren't going to create any bubbles. So the only way you were going to get bubbles from that bubble bath is by, which most people know. Yeah. So again, now I have to stop and think about that. But from there, she practically just sort of picked me up from the back of the neck and sort of just dropped me in the water. And as fast as I hit that water, I screamed. And so if you can imagine, the taps are in front of me. So the back of the bath is behind me. And so as I hit the water and that water touches my skin, the water is that hot. As soon as that water touches my skin, I scream. And I automatically, being a human being, my automatic reaction is to get out. But I'm 4. I'm little.
Yeah.
And there's bubble bath down the side of the bath.
So you're just sliding.
So I'm sliding. So if you can imagine, I'm holding on to the side of the bath for dear life. And I've got my right leg anchoring over the side of the bath to try and pull myself out of the bath. And my foot's in the water, but the right leg is out and the rest of my body is in the water. And I'm trying for the life of me to get out, and I'm screaming, out, mummy, out, mummy, out, mummy.
She's not in the room? Or?
She's in the room, so she's seeing this happen. And as I'm trying to get out, she's pushing me further into the water. So not only am I trying to pull my own weight out of a bath that's too big for me and it's slippy, I've then got an extra weight on my shoulders that's pushing me back in.
This story is really horrible.
Yeah. So I just remember being frantic. I just remember screaming and crying. And I just remember the pain. Just a pain just searing up my body. And I just remember, all I remember is just screaming and just trying to pull myself out. And I remember at one point her pushing me back into the water, and as she pushed me back in, her hand hit the water. And I remember her removing her hand really quickly and going to the sink and running her hand under the cold water tap. But I'm still in the bath, and I'm still screaming, and I'm still trying to get out of this bath. And the water is starting to turn red, and the bubbles have gone.
Your skin's bleeding and
Yeah,
going away from your body.
and then I remember the door swinging open, and her eldest son comes running in, screaming, "Mum, what's happening? Why is she screaming? What's happening?" And I just remember it sort of looking, and I don't know whether something clicked in her head. I have no idea, but all I remember is her trying to reach for me to get me out of the bath. But because I've been in this water so long and the water is so hot, as she's reaching for me and she's lifting me, my body's slipping away from her, and she's got handfuls of skin in her hands. So she's holding skin and I'm still swishing in this water. So at this point, the bath is now full of my skin, my blood, my tears, and I'm still trying to get out of the bath. So after maybe 2 or 3 attempts at that, she then tries to take an arm and a leg. And then she's trying to get me out of the bath with an arm and a leg. And at this point, I think I'm still screaming, I'm still crying. There's blood everywhere, there's skin everywhere. And eventually she decides to pull the plug out. She lets the water drain out and then starts to splash me with cold water.
You're in there all this time.
So all this time,
she can't grab you with a towel and
no. So all this time I'm still. So now you've got a child that's now raw. From my waist down. So I've got skin coming off my arms. I've got skin coming off my belly. I've got skin coming off my back, my bum, my thighs, my ankles, my feet. And as we know, your skin's in layers. So you've got maybe 3 layers of skin. For me, most of my leg, all those 3 layers have gone. Because you have to imagine that top layer going, and then that top layer coming off, and then that second layer's hitting the water again, and then that's getting destroyed. So that second layer's coming off. Then I'm hitting the water again, and that third layer's coming off. So then you're just hitting nerves and muscle and whatever fat's there. And so from that, I ended up losing lots of skin from lots of different areas on my leg. And from that, eventually, when she got me out of the bath, she then sent her eldest son next door to the next door neighbour to ring the family doctor. No ambulance, No police, just a family doctor who then has to get out of bed, get dressed, get in his car, drive round to the bungalow, get me in the car, and then get me from Dinnington to Rotherham District General.
You said that she was splashing you with water. Was that couldn't have been much relief?
I think I don't remember that journey.
You would have probably numbed
I
out.
probably will have been conscious, unconscious,
Yeah.
conscious, unconscious. I don't particularly remember most of the night. The only thing I remember getting to the hospital, I remember lots of people around me. I remember seeing really shocked faces. Nobody speaking to me. And all I remember is hearing her voice in the background saying, she got in the bath, she got in the bath, she got in the bath on her own, she got in the bath on her own. And I remember in my head, me laid there, all I can remember is me thinking,
No.
Mummy put me in the bath, Mummy
Yeah.
put me in the bath. But nobody ever spoke to me.
No one asked you any questions?
No, not one nurse, not one doctor. Nobody asked me. Nobody spoke to me. It was as if it happened to me, but it affected her.
Yeah.
So they were more concerned with
the one
what she'd done,
noise.
and to actually speaking to me to find out what had happened. And nobody really ever asked me what happened. No, I don't ever remember an adult taking me to one side or sitting me in a room or anything and having a conversation with me and asking me about it. It was just adults that were deciding what had happened.
So there was no investigation into it?
There was an investigation. A lot of people got together and had a massive board meeting about it, and the decision was made that I was at risk.
Okay. And
the reason why I'm smiling is because the decision was, that should have been it. The decision was made. I was at risk. I was officially placed on the at-risk list. So therefore you would think
there's going to be arrangements to get you removed from the household.
No, they put me straight back with that family. When I came out of hospital, I was in hospital, so I was in Rotherham District General. They didn't have the capacity to be able to deal with the injuries because the injuries were so bad. I was blue lighted from Rotherham District General to the Children's Hospital, and had a wonderful doctor there called Mr. Miller. He was amazing. But when I came out of the hospital, I went straight back to her. So although they'd had this big meeting and they'd gone through the file, they still decided, although I was definitely at risk, they still put me back into the risk that there was. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they put you back in danger.
Yeah.
Okay, you must have had some surgery then on
your
body.
So I had to have skin grafts, which were horrendous. And I don't, just as bad as probably the incident, because back then the technology wasn't great. So number one, black skin burns different. It keloids. That's an issue. Penelope, here. And the healing process of burn tissue, they were still trying to understand it. So
because it's black skin.
Yeah. So unfortunately, because the damage was so bad and I'd got over 40% of my body was burnt, and I'd got 3rd-degree burns, which is the worst burns you can get.
Okay.
So because of that, and because of how they'd burned and where I'd lost skin in certain areas, they needed to take skin from other parts of my body. So my right thigh wasn't burnt, and that's why I went into detail with how it actually happened, because I was constantly trying to get out of the bath. I'd got my right leg out of the bath.
Yeah.
So my right leg ended up with superficial burns, but not to an extent they were bad. So they managed to be able to take a lot of skin from my thigh. But obviously then you're just damaging another part of the body to fix the other part. So they took that skin, but the healing process of that was horrendous and was very traumatic, because at that point, when they do the surgery, back then, the bandaging wasn't great. It's very, very different now, but back then it was just sort of normal bandaging. And you have to understand that when they take a skin graft, it's almost like a blade that they take, and they take a very thin layer of skin. But then what happens is they leave that open. So that will heal on its own, and all the nerves start to reconnect.
They don't bandage that.
So they bandage that. So you have to think that's an open wound.
Okay.
So then put bandages on that. And then as it's healing and it dries, that bandage attaches to that. So every 2 or 3 days, they would have to bathe me. Then Kate. So I've just been thrown in a bath of boiling water, and now you're bathing me every 2 or 3 days to basically release the bandaging where they've took the skin. But obviously, if you think about it sensibly, an open wound with a bandage, it will just bond. So when they're trying to bathe me, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get that bandage just to release. Soften, and all that's happening is they're just reopening that wound. So they're ripping that bandage off. My mum and dad now, my mum can get quite tearful about it, because when I eventually ended up with them, I was still having surgery, and they said there was one particular time they were in the lift coming towards the burns unit for a visit, and heard me screaming from outside of the ward, and knew it was because they were bathing me to get the bandages off. And that was sort of every 2 or 3 days. So all they were doing, as they were removing that bandage, was just opening that. They were basically ripping bandage off an open wound and opening that back up again. So I was in constant pain with that, on top of the fact, obviously, when it's healing, your nerves, and if you've ever had that, it's your nerves, it's like an electrical current. So when those nerves are coming back, it's like you're getting shots of electric. So on top of the fact you're having that wound opened up, you're getting all this pain that's coming from the nerves that are trying to heal, as well as the burn tissue on the other leg that's trying to heal. So I was just in pain. I was bandaged up to the max. And as a 5 and a 6 year old, that's not fun.
It's traumatic.
On top of everything else.
Yeah. And you knowing that you've got to stay with this woman as well. How is it affecting you now then? I mean, was the skin graft successful? Did they manage to cover up most of
so generally when they do skin grafts, they do it to be able to release tension from the other scarring, because generally scarring, it's dead. There's nothing they can do about it.
Are you able to flex your leg?
So these were the issues. So in order for me to be able to be as comfortable as possible, they had to either cut away some of the burn scarring because it was so thick and wasn't giving me the movement. And therefore, when they cut that away, that's when they take the skin from the donor area and replace it to create that movement. But unfortunately, they only tend to last periods of time, and obviously I'm a child, so I'm growing rapidly. So over the years I've probably had 10, 12 surgeries. My last one will have been, how old am I, 47? My late 30s was my last one, and I am now on the waiting list again.
Really? You still got to get it done?
Yeah, because unfortunately what happens is, as well, is, I mean, I'm slim and I always have been slim. But one of my issues is, a few years ago, I actually purposely slimmed down, because any weight I put on, the scarring on the left leg doesn't grow with me. So then that causes me more issues, which is more surgery, and it becomes more visible to people around me. And that, for me, is a massive deal. At the time, and for a long time, I never really spoke about it. I definitely wouldn't show anybody about it, and would do anything in my power to hide it. And so, as a girl, when you're wearing tight clothing, I had to then think of ways to hide it. Sitting particular ways, cross my legs in particular ways, put my hands in particular
Super
places.
aware of it all.
Yeah.
And plus you can feel it.
Yeah. And before that, for most of my childhood, I had to wear pressure garments, which were like tights, but they were like 5 times as thick. They were ribbed, and I had to wear them under everything, every day, all day, even when we went to the Caribbean.
Just to kind of
And that was to help soften and smooth them as much as they could. So on top of the fact, I'm having to have all these surgeries, and then I'm then having to wear unfeminine things underneath my clothes. My parents are having to try and find ways to dress me in such a way that they're not noticeable, so people don't ask questions, because unfortunately people aren't nice either. And we have had people that have approached us. Sometimes it's intrigue, sometimes it comes out of nastiness, and as you get older you then carry that, and that adds to your paranoia and you becoming uncomfortable. It's hard enough being a female without having all the rest of that to deal with on top of it. So yeah, it's been a nightmare. So I've, for a few years now, I've put off a surgery that I know really I need and would probably help me. But I think the other part of it is because now they're wanting to take skin from my back, and I'm kind of like, I've already lost half my body, and now you want to start destroying the part I actually can show.
Yeah.
And I have to try and weigh that up, and I've got to be honest, I think I'm at the point where I'd rather deal with the pain, but I shouldn't have to live like that.
Yeah.
And that is painful emotionally to know. I'm still in an abusive state. She's still abusing me, and she has done every day up to today. I live in an abusive state.
It seems like you're carrying the shame and guilt of what this woman's done to you, and it was never.
No, it's like I'm carrying a dirty secret. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's like I'm carrying a dirty secret, and I've spent my life protecting her because I'm not allowed to give her name.
Okay.
And that it's really painful to know that I wasn't protected, but I have to protect her.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever get over that. To be honest, I don't think I'll ever get over it. And I don't think I'll ever get over it because I'm never going to get justice for it. And I don't know how I'm supposed to live with that. Somebody took something away from me and replaced it with something just so horrendous. I don't ever really see the wood for the trees.
Mm. Have you been able to, have you ever been able to contact her or any?
No, she knew what she'd done. She knew she'd abused me. She knew she'd damaged me really badly. And the village that we lived in knew. And because the village knew, people were very vocal. And so people would point at her, and people would make comments, and people would whisper. And so when eventually she removed me from the family, and I need to make that really clear, I wasn't taken from the family, she removed me from the family.
Social services didn't see fit to make any arrangements.
She was the one who went to social services and basically said she was finding it too difficult to cope, especially after the surgery, after the incident.
You're just inconveniencing her.
Yeah, it got to the point, like I said, the abuse got worse afterwards, but to a point where it was like I was just locked away. Any time anybody came to the house, I didn't exist. She didn't, because at that point, obviously, I'm bandaged up and everything. There was no hiding it. And so anybody who visited the house, I was straight away locked in my bedrooms, like I just didn't exist. And so again, that put shame on me, and I learned that
Right.
So
you're internalizing
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So then for years and years and years and years and years and years, I've been ashamed of the scars that I carry and the way that I look. I'm ashamed of it. I'm embarrassed of it. And I shouldn't be. And part of my head knows that. But when you've been influenced so much and so much damage has been done, I just don't escape it. I wish I could.
Do you think people misunderstand you then? Because
yeah, I think part of it is
you're not going to move around as you would in the world, really, are you?
No. I mean, I always, you get to a certain age and people start to ask you, what do you want to do when you get older? I always wanted to model. It was just something I wanted to do. To this day, something I still want to do. And I've been spotted 2 or 3 times. But that's as far as it's gone, because I can't walk a runway. There's no way on earth I could walk a runway. Even if I got the confidence and the courage to do it, I couldn't do it. Because it's people's reactions, and I've seen people's reactions. I've had, there are a lot of good people in the world. But unfortunately, there are also a lot of horrible people in the world.
Right.
And unfortunately for me, I've come across some of those horrible people in the world. In fact, I experienced something today that I found really hard. And it was, I've not had great love relationships because of it. Because men are fickle, that's number 1. And number 2, a lot of people just can't get their head around it. So...
Around what exactly?
I think they can't get their head around my childhood and what happened to me. They don't seem to be able to understand the extent of the abuse that I went through, and that maybe...
Have you shared it?
Yeah, I think with a lot of partners, unfortunately with me, because my scars are so visible, it's something I have to speak on really, really early on.
Yeah.
In on the relationship, which is again difficult because you don't want to have to tell your life story when you first meet somebody, but unfortunately for me, I have to, because it's something you can see it, so I can't escape it. So for me to be intimate, I have to be open about it, and unfortunately, it's not even like you can tiptoe around it and just go, oh, I've just got a few scars, and it's not as simple as that. So then I end up having to tell the story, and most of the reactions is, unfortunately, what you get is it's people feeling sorry for you, and that's not it's not what I want. I don't want people to feel sorry for me, but I do want people to understand what happened to me and understand that it was wrong, and understand that it's also a part of who I am. And I think some people feel like, oh, you just need to get over it. Well, do you get over something like that? Especially when over 40%. So if you think about over 40% of your body, that's from there.
Downwards.
That's something you can't hide. If it's a hand, or it's something, there's certain things you can hide, but with it being where it is, we've tried. My mum was great at it. She had much practice of, trying to hide this and trying to hide that. But unfortunately, it comes summer and I want to wear a strappy pair of sandals. And it's like, okay, how am I feeling today? Have I got enough confidence that I can wear my sandals if somebody sees it and they might make a comment, or they might say I'm going to be all right, or have I not? And most of the time it's, I just don't even want to even try it. I don't even want to risk it.
Yeah.
I'd rather not. So I'd rather sweat and be uncomfortable than deal with judgment from somebody else that won't understand that I didn't do it to myself. I see it as ugly. I see myself as unattractive. When I first meet people, it's like in my head, I automatically think they can see my scars. Automatically. And it's something I just can't switch off in my head.
Yeah. You're just aware of it, and it consumes you by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
How has it been how do you cope with facing a man in a relationship?
It's not easy. I've had, different relationships with different men. I've had my first ever love was absolutely amazing. It just wasn't an issue with him at all. He would encourage me, to wear strappy sandals. He'd encourage me to wear a skirt. He'd encourage me to wear tights. He just didn't care. He loved me for who I was. And I'll always love him for that. And he's still in my life now. And if you were to ask him today, he would still turn around and say, I don't care. And he really believes that, and he really means it. But I've had others that have not been so kind, have started kind and have started encouraging, but the minute that the relationship has broken down, it's something that's been used as a tool.
Oh, really?
And that's happened to me an awful lot in a lot of relationships, where either it's been used in arguments, oh, you're insecure and you're this and you're that and other, and it's because of this and it's because of that, and I've had that. And then on the other side of it, I've just had some people that are just nasty and malicious and just want to hurt, and it's like I've handed it to them on a plate.
Yeah.
It's something. It's huge enough you can use to hurt somebody, and of course it has. I had one ex who hurt me to the extent he put it all over the internet. He told everybody he could tell. And I went out one night with a group of girls and had a load of blokes poking and making fun at me, asking me about it, calling me bun-up girl. It was absolutely horrendous. And that's why I started saying to you earlier, I actually popped into a shop this morning and actually saw that guy and fell to pieces. Just went into automatic panic, and straight away, that's all I could see.
Has he apologised?
No, he will never apologise.
Has he acknowledged that what he did was wrong?
No.
Wow.
And he never will.
And this is someone that you shared your life with.
Yeah.
You made yourself vulnerable for him.
Yeah. Wow. And this was also somebody who encouraged me to walk around in the house in shorts, encouraged me, I didn't have to hide it. He loved me for who I was. I didn't need to hide it. And then the minute we broke up, he just took it, and that was his weapon, and he used it probably for a couple of years. I mean, it made me very poorly. I think I dropped a couple of stone in weight. I wouldn't come out of the house. I was paranoid. I was uncomfortable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How are you? I mean, the weather's been, some people would say amazing. Some people say it's too hot. How have you been dealing with that?
I've loved it. I mean, I love hot weather. I always have done. But I have struggled from the point of view that I can't just sit in my garden with a bikini on. I just can't. I never have done. And it fascinates me with my friends and my mum and people that do, because I just, right down to I'll make comments like, don't you feel naked? Because I just don't know what it feels like to have all your body out like that. I have no idea what that feels like. It's alien to me. So it fascinates the living daylights out. It also makes me very, very, very jealous. And I can get to the point that I can get almost angry and aggravated, and my anxiety skyrockets, my PTSD kicks in. And it can be a real battle, because with the heat, I have to obviously cover from my waist down. Not just because I don't want people to see, but because I have to protect the skin.
Right.
Because the skin is so thin, it would bubble, it would peel, it would split. And that's a 999 call, and I'm not about to start dealing with hospitals. I've spent a lot of my life in and out of them. And so I've had years and years and years of experience of knowing what heat I can sit in, what I can take, what I can't take. I may sit with my bare feet out, but even my feet are scarred, so I have to again be very careful how long they're out for, and eventually I can start, it's like a tingle I start to feel, and I think that's it. And I have to then, either bring myself in and let my body cool back down and then make sure I'm covered up, or just make sure I'm covered up when I'm out, which is frustrating because when I want to go out with the girls and they're all turning up here in the little shorts and the little skirts and the strappy heels, and again, never done strappy heels. I've never done all those girly things we're supposed to do when you're hitting a certain age. I've just never, I've never experienced. So although like I play, and my mum and dad used to play, she's a bit of a tomboy, which I was. I loved my sports, and I spent most of the time with my brothers. And probably that came from, because I was abused by a female, I struggled with females, and I always have done throughout my life. And I think that purely comes from the fact that the first female I interacted with abused me for 7 years of my life. So now I'm a little bit, but it's alien to me, and I sort of watch them, and it does make me, of course, it's awful, but my friends have been in my life a long, long time, so they know. But I'll find myself apologising sometimes to them because I know maybe I've made a bit of a, not a nasty comment, but maybe a flippant comment because I know I can't do what they're doing. Okay. So I might make a comment, oh, be nice if you all turned up in jeans for a change, or, something like that, because it's pure jealousy. You just think, I want to be able to do that. I want to feel like a female.
Yeah.
And I just can't. So it's having to accept that, and I'm not very good at accepting things I can't have.
Yeah. Okay.
No, never have been. So it is something I struggle with.
What about the soles of your feet then?
So the soles of my feet, and this came into conversation when my mum and dad first took me on, because they were looking at compensation, and one of the things they looked at, because they were trying to say that because she said I got in the bath on my own.
Wait, so if you got in the bath on
I
your
would have
own,
had burns.
you'd feel it and then you'd get out. You
exactly.
wouldn't have had full body up to
And that was the first thing that a lot of people said is, nobody gets in a bath with both feet. That's number one. It's always one foot and then the other one. So that first foot would have hit the water. It would have been too hot and I'd have stepped out. So there's no way on earth I got in that bath on my own. And number two, there are no burns on the bottom of my feet. So there's no way on earth I put myself in that bath. Okay. And it was one of the first things they looked at was the bottom of my feet to see if there were any scars there, and there weren't.
She dropped you in.
Because she kind of it was sort of from here, and I think I went in bum first, so I kind of hit that way. And so the top of my feet are burnt, but there's nothing on the soles of my feet at all.
Wow. Okay. So how you're channeling this into your creation, and you said that you weren't aware that it's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's how you cope.
Yeah.
How long have you actually been creating? And I want to ask, have you ever even had a proper job?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Because I don't think I've ever known you.
So I am a qualified chef. That's number one. I stopped doing that a few years ago. That is a young person's game. I'm not so young anymore. You need a bit of speed and whatever these days in there. And I was just like, I've had enough of that. But so I've chefed before. Always in sales, really. I went straight into, as soon as I could at age 16, I was the first out of my group of friends. In fact, my entire year to get a job. As soon as I could get a job, I got a job. And I got a part-time job. My first job was at Saxon Shoe in Meadowhall. That was my first ever part-time job. And I went from there to a sports shop. And then I did loads of other sort of sales, usually in fashion. And then I went from there, became a bridal consultant in Sheffield. And I loved that job. When I first stepped into it, I didn't realise the work that goes into it. I just thought, you walked into a bridal shop, you picked a dress, you bought it, you put it on, you got married. That's as far as it went for me. What I didn't realise was there was all this beading and fitting and all sorts of things. And so I stayed there, I think maybe about 4 years, and I absolutely loved it. And I learned a lot. I learned about beads and crystals, and I learned how to sew and do those sorts of things. And from that, I realised I'd got a bit of an eye for fashion on top of it. And so I think from there is when I started just playing with bits and pieces. And I'd always, as a kid, I'd always got something about me. So I was one of these kids. At one point, I would wear my brother's old Levi's jeans and wear like a boxer shorts, with the band on, and a little crop top and bands up my arms. So I was already starting to piece my sort of style together from an early age. Mm-hmm. But I think when I came out of the bridal wear, and then I had a couple of jobs on Division Street. And then from there, I think I realised I loved fashion, and start to play with my own style. And from that, it was buying things and thinking, oh, I know, but it's like everybody's wearing it, so what can I do to change it slightly? So I started doing little things like that, and then it went from there to like my friends going, oh, can you do me this and can you do me that? And then I ended up doing some youth project works, and that was like t-shirt printing and doing things like that. And it was like in some holidays and Easter holidays, and just teaching kids about t-shirt printing. And from that,
was that when you were with Sean,
yeah,
just where down Division Street,
yeah,
okay, I remember that.
So he sort of taught me about graph art and things like that, and I liked it, but it wasn't for me. So then he started teaching me the printing, and from that kind of opened a whole world to me that I'd not realised. And I'd got my little flat on Division Street, and I'd spend most days on my hands and knees just drawing things out and cutting materials out and whatever else. And I'd have a couple of my friends would take me to like one at pubs on Friday night, and I'd go in and just sell a load of stuff and think, oh, brilliant, and then come home and do some more bits and pieces. And it just started to build from there. And I don't think I really thought this is what I really want to do, but I found it was giving me some sort of peace. The more I did it, the more
you could kind of get lost in it.
Yeah. And I'd find, especially in that flat, I'd find myself at like 3:30 a.m. suddenly, like, and I'm still, hang on a minute, everybody's in bed, it's silent. Yeah, and I'm still sort of on my hands and knees drawing and cutting things out. And the flat sort of became an art studio. There was just stuff everywhere. And then moving from the flat to here, my partner at the time, he was into music. And so watching him build his business and his career, again, I suppose in a way influenced me into being more and more creative. And just as the days went on, it became more and more and more. And unfortunately then the relationship broke down. He moved out. And then the seriousness kicked in with COVID. When the first year when they decided they were going to lock us down, I was already aware of all this I was carrying in my head, and just thought, now I'm trapped in the house. And I knew that with all that in my head and being trapped in the house, I wasn't going to cope if I didn't find something to do.
You mean all the memories?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so from there, it was kind of, I need to find something to do. So I continued for a little bit doing my clothing and whatever else. And then I found epoxy resin. So I just randomly went to Amazon and bought some epoxy resin, got it, didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was literally upstairs in the spare bedroom on my hands and knees, pouring this resin and sort of teaching myself that. Fell in love with that. I went mental with that for like 6 months. And then that opened loads of other things up. And then I just continued, and then it almost just became a full-time thing. And now it's a proper business, it's running, it's a full-time, I get up every day, I've now gone from a spare room to an actual spare room that was then turned into a studio full of equipment and desks and you name it. And now I practically live in one room, even though I've got a 3-bedroom house. But I work a lot of things out in there.
Yeah, I envy anyone that can find something and have passion for it and be able to expand it and grow and just really find yourself in an amazing way.
Yeah.
And it's led to this opportunity.
Yes, which I never, and that's where I start. When I said at the beginning, it wasn't something I was working towards. It was just, this is what I'm doing. I love doing it. And it's also an outlet to the pain that I carry every day.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that every day is a difficult day, but there are moments in every day that are difficult. And so having that room there, whenever I feel like my head is going and there are too many memories and there are too many triggers, I go into that studio, and generally when that happens, I'll just go in with anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Something will grab me and I'll start, and by the time I've walked out of the studio, without realising it, I've worked out whatever it is that's in my head, and I've created something really beautiful. But most of the time, those pieces I cannot repeat. Yeah. So those pieces become quite special because, whatever that particular pain is goes into that one piece. And it's like, once I've got rid of it, I've got rid of it. And I know I have, because I cannot for the life of me go back and go, right, I'm going to do that again. I just can't. Other pieces, I could go upstairs now, create something, and tomorrow I could repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. But if I've gone in there and created something because of something that's happening in my head, I can't repeat it, which tells me I've done the work I needed to do, because I've however I've done it, I've got it out of my head. And it's not that I put that negative or that pain physically into that piece and then I look at that piece and go, yeah, that's my pain. Because that sounds awful then when I'm then sending it out or I'm selling it. But the point is, what I try to explain to people is those pieces in particular are very special because it's almost a part of me that I've actually put into that. Whereas some of the other pieces, it's still me, but not to a certain depth. Whereas those and certain pieces I will keep, and I've also been known to make something and then destroy it afterwards.
Why do you do that?
Because for me, it's like a ritual. It's like taking that pain from my heart and my mind and put it into something and then destroying it afterwards.
Yeah, it's a way of getting rid of that pain and trigger.
Yeah. So if I can go and burn it, I'll burn it. Sometimes I might even, if something's bothering me, I may go and scribble a couple of sentences down and then go and physically go outside and burn it and get rid of it. And that is the reason why Chains to Flames, which is what I'm taking to London Fashion Week, is based around the Phoenix. So everything I do, there's an actual meaning behind it as well. So Amani Kush the name comes from an African warrior queen. So that's number one. And that was really important to me because I kind of feel a little bit like a warrior and I've come through quite a lot. And then the Phoenix became a really big deal, obviously from the point of view of what Phoenix stands for. And because it was a healing journey, it just felt like it was almost like meant to be. So now I use a lot of phoenixes, and a lot of my artwork, if you don't see a phoenix, you will always see some kind of flames, and there's little strap lines like "she didn't burn."
Okay.
Things like that, and it's all many reasons behind it. So they're not just random things that I've suddenly gone, oh, that sounds good, we'll put that on there. It's there's an actual reason to it, which is why I wear a lot of raw quartz. A lot of the jewellery now is a lot of raw crystals, a lot of phoenixes, a lot of healing stuff, a lot of grounding stuff. And it's all because I recognise I'm not the only person in the world that has been hurt by somebody else. There are thousands and thousands of people, and it's happening to people every minute of every day. So if I can give peace to some of those people, like I'm trying to find peace for myself, then I feel like I've done my job. Because I think I've walked around for a few years trying to work out what's my purpose because of everything that I've been through. And I think my purpose was, I think it was about healing and being able to help other people heal. And also to find those little girls that are going through what I went through or have been through what I've been through, and to show them you can actually come out the other side, despite the feeling of you've been left behind and people that are supposed to be put in place to protect you and whatever else don't. You can still do it yourself. You with your own strength, and we've got, human beings, we're very resilient, and if you can find some love for yourself, you can get through it. You can get through it. It's not easy, and I don't want anybody to ever think, oh, if I go and do therapy or if I find something to put my pain into, that it will just all go away. It doesn't. And I hate people that say to me, and I have a lot of people that say to me, oh, you just need to get over it and you need to move on. It's not as simple as that. You don't ever get over something that I've been through. How can you? I don't understand the concept of being able to move on from the fact that somebody is physically and mentally abused me, and then on top of the fact of being sexually abused in a children's home on top of it. It's kind of like I'm lucky to be a touch wood, because of the parents I ended up with, my second adoptive parents, and I think the strength that I have within myself, I've survived, but a lot of other people don't.
That's right,
so I do class myself as a survivor, and I think I'll always be that, but I'll always have moments where I'm going to struggle. I'll always have moments when I want to scream and shout. I'm always going to have moments when I want to cry. But I'm here, and I'm thankful that I'm here, and I'm just trying to make a little space in the world for myself and try and turn something very horrendous into something very beautiful. And I think that is kind of my life at the moment, is taking those ugly, horrible things and making something really beautiful out of them. And I just hope that I can do that at London Fashion Week with the help of everybody else.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations on getting that position.
Thank you. That means so much.
I can't wait to see pictures and videos. Have you got someone there who's going to film?
Hopefully. I mean, if there's anybody out there who is interested in following the journey and wants to come over and take some photos and sort of document the journey right up to London Fashion Week, great. Send me a message, drop a comment. For me, it's a fantastic opportunity. As I said, for me, I even now still can't believe I'm going, but I'd love to be able to take some people with me as well. I want to be able to open doors for other people, and other people feel this excitement I've got, because it's I just can't.
It's a big deal.
It really is,
because it's opening the doors to who knows what, and you're taking a big risk. A lot of people might just sit back and be like, I can't do it, I'm not going to. But you're going in wholeheartedly, and you're willing to take other people with you as well.
It's I'm not willing to miss the opportunity. Obviously, financially, I'm going to take a big hit on it, And that is why we've got the GoFundMe page up, because I just need that little bit of support. But as I said, I will do everything in my power to get me there. And if I can get people with me, you know, for me, it's about the younger generation for me, I think now. And if I can, like I said, the model we've got, Leah, beautiful, beautiful girl. She's 19 or 20 years old, you know, she's still a baby. So for her to have an opportunity to hit a runway at London Fashion Week is unbelievable. You know, there's models that will never touch a runway. So from that point of view, again, I'm excited to see her on the runway, for her to get her opportunity and her chance. So, you know, to be able to try and take a makeup artist with us, you don't know who you're going to see, because the way it's set up, there's a networking session afterwards. We get to meet marketers, we get to meet people we would never ever normally be able to conversate with, and be able to swap business cards and have to be able to see into that world. Because it's a world you have to be invited to. You can't, it's not a world that you can just walk into. I mean, Victoria Beckham found that one out.
I think a lot of making a move like this is doing things even if you're not fully ready. Someone like a makeup artist, you might not need the full experience, years of experience behind you, but if you're willing to put your foot out and try something new, a videographer,
again, is another one. And then any other artist that, you know, because we've got the designs, I've been sort of looking at how do we do this so it's not going to cost me as much money. So even we've looked at, you know, any collaborations, if people are thinking, do you know what, I quite like the style of what I'm doing, then again, drop me a message. There might be something in the 6 pieces that I've created that you might be able to go, do you know what, I could make that, let's collaborate. And that way your stuff hits the runway at the side of mine. So it's kind of like, it could benefit so many people if we do it right. I've never been the person that, oh no, this is mine and I'm not sharing it. I just don't believe in that. And especially as a black female in particular, those doors don't open for us. We have to kick them open. And if I've managed to kick this door open, then I'm there's no way on earth I'm leaving people behind, because I don't know when this door's going to reopen again. This could be it for me as well as for anybody else. So I'm just taking every opportunity. The company, you know, have said to me, they've got their own photographers, they've got their own videographers, they've got their own models. But I've said, I'd like to take my own models, I'd like to take my own team. Because that way, you've got more of a say on it anyway. And I do want more of a handle on what I'm actually doing, because obviously it is my reputation, it is my label, and I need to protect that. But again, like I said, it's also offering that opportunity to somebody else that is coming up, that is sort of sat in their own little studio thinking, I'm never going to make it. You know, I thought that right up until that email. And even now, every day I get up thinking, I still just can't believe it. So every day, the funny thing is, every day, more or less, I go and look at the email just to make sure it's real and I've not dreamt it. So I'm just really, really, really excited. But yeah, I just want to bring people into the team. I've been saying for a couple of years I wanted to start building my team anyway. And so this has given me the opportunity to do that. And I'm hoping that once we've done it and we come down off the big cloud, that we can maybe make some manoeuvres in Sheffield, because I do feel, as I was saying to Sheffield City Council last year, there's not enough representation when it comes to black businesses. And so maybe I can use this opportunity again to say, look, you know, we are here, we're very talented to the point we've managed to get to these levels. So maybe, you know, the city needs to sit up and open their eyes and start supporting some of these small businesses, because we're carrying Sheffield, I'm carrying Sheffield, screaming Sheffield from the rooftops. And so Sheffield, it's not just Amani Cushers hitting the runway at London, it's Sheffield is hitting the runway. And we don't know who's going to be at that fashion show. We've got no idea. I mean, I watch all the fashion shows every year. Cardi B last year went to a random London Fashion Week off her own back. She asked her people, she just wanted to go to a small one. And she went to 2 or 3 of them. And they were non-known designers. So we don't know who's going to walk into that show. Got no idea. So it's on top of everything else, even that part of it is just really exciting. So I'm like, yeah, get your 50p's and your pounds and your £5 and your £10. And we had one, I must admit, and I will say this, on Monday, we got one donation, and I will not mention the person's name, but it was absolutely amazing, and it was £100 donation. It wasn't done for clarity or clout. It was done very quietly, and I was just on cloud 9 all day on Monday, because for somebody to take that chance, £100 is a lot of money. It is to me anyway. Mm-hmm. So for somebody to take £100 and to put it into somebody's pot for nothing,
your dream,
is unbelievable. And that's a very good person. And so I had to actually make a physical phone call for that, and was very grateful and was pretty emotional about it. But I'm not saying I'm expecting everybody else to put £100 in, but what I'm saying is I just wanted to let people know that people are putting in, and I am very grateful to those people that have put money in so far, and especially for the £100 donation, because it was just like, wow, that was just unbelievable.
So we can get you some more hundreds, pounds, £2, £5, whatever. So okay, well, it's been a pleasure talking with you again.
Thank you, Louise.
Thanks for sharing your story.
You're very welcome. Thanks, PP. So you can introduce yourself now,
Lady Penelope's here.
Here she comes. Oh, there she goes. Look, she needed to be in. Okay, yes, see. Getting lots of love from the PP. There you go.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye.
Bye.